Most people think they know how to breathe. Inhale, exhale, what could be more basic, right? But here's the twist: what if the way you breathe is actually limiting your energy, dimming your intuition, and cutting you off from your true power? See, we've been taught to survive, not to awaken. And what if I told you that your breath, when used the way your ancestors once did, could reactivate a hidden field of energy that surrounds and shapes everything about your life? It's called the etheric body, an invisible layer of vitality that holds the blueprint of your health, emotions, and even your spiritual connection. The problem? For most people, it's dormant, weakened by modern life. But the solution is surprisingly simple: a forgotten form of spiritual breathing that doesn't just relax you, it literally wakes up your subtle body. And once you feel it activate, trust me, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. This isn't woo-woo. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you really are, and unlocking the power that's already inside you. And the best part? It takes less than 10 minutes a day. So if you've ever felt foggy, drained, disconnected, or like there's more to you than you've tapped into, then this might just be the moment everything starts to shift. Because once you breathe this way, really breathe, your entire energy begins to change. And with it, your clarity, presence, and purpose. Ready to feel it? Most people go through life completely unaware that they carry around an invisible layer of energy, an exact replica of the physical body, but far more subtle. This is the etheric body, the very first layer of the subtle body system, and it plays a huge role in how we feel, think, and even how we heal. Imagine it as a luminous grid, like an energetic Wi-Fi, transmitting vitality and perception throughout your whole system. When it's healthy and active, you walk into a room and people feel your presence, not because of what you wear, but because of what you emanate. But here's the catch: most etheric fields today are on life support. Life's noise, the stress, the rush, the endless scrolling, slowly dims the etheric body until it's barely functioning. And the effects show up everywhere: you feel foggy, disconnected, maybe even a little lost without knowing why. Think of it like trying to listen to your intuition through static. It's not that the signal's gone, it's just that the receiver, your etheric field, is too weak to pick it up. And let's be real, no app is going to fix that. But there's one tool you always have with you, and it's free. That tool is spiritual breathing. Not just deep breathing, spiritual breathing. It's an ancient, intentional practice that recharges your subtle body and clears the energetic dust you've picked up along the way. You know that feeling after a good cry, when suddenly the air feels lighter and your mind gets quiet? That's your etheric field stretching its legs. Breathing this way isn't about surviving, it's about remembering that you're more than skin and bones. It's about lighting up that energetic map just beneath the surface. When you begin to nourish this part of yourself, something unexpected happens: your sense of direction comes back online. You feel more grounded, yet oddly expansive. Decisions become easier. Emotions don't knock you sideways. You're not chasing clarity anymore, you're radiating it. And the best part? You don't need a silent retreat in the Himalayas to access this. You just need to remember what your ancestors already knew about breath. Long before apps tracked our breaths and watches counted our inhales, our ancestors had already mastered the art of using breath as a gateway to power. They didn't just breathe to stay alive, they breathed to connect, to heal, and to awaken. Every tribe, every ancient culture had its own ancestral technique for moving energy through the body. These weren't random patterns. They were precise, often passed down through initiations, aligned with seasons, moon cycles, and inner states. What we call breathwork today, they called communion with the unseen. These breathing techniques weren't about performance or fancy names, they were sacred acts of alignment. A medicine woman in the Andes, a monk in the Himalayas, and a druid in the Celtic forests all knew something in common: breath activates the etheric field. One could say these lineages were like rivers flowing from the same underground source, subtle, powerful, and deeply spiritual. And we? We've lost the map. We breathe to get by, not to awaken. But that doesn't mean the wisdom is gone. I once met a 72-year-old healer who told me she could sense the strength of someone's spirit by how they breathed. No words, no aura reading, just the breath. She'd guide her students through rhythmic patterns passed on by her grandmother, who claimed they came from dreams, not books. And every time, like clockwork, people would feel their subtle body tingle, pulse, even vibrate. That's no coincidence. That's a language we've forgotten how to speak, but we still remember how to feel. When you start practicing these ancestral techniques, even the simplest ones, something inside recognizes the rhythm. It's like a part of you that's been asleep for centuries suddenly sits up. You don't need to be initiated into a mystery school to feel this. You just need to breathe with intention, with reverence, and with presence. But how do you know if your etheric field is even ready to be awakened? Sometimes, your body is already sending you signals, you just haven't been taught how to read them. You don't have to be a mystic to know when something's off, your body always tells the truth. That heavy tiredness that doesn't go away, the brain fog that lingers even after a good night's sleep, that subtle sense that you're disconnected from yourself. These aren't just random symptoms. They're clues. Warnings. Your etheric field, the energetic scaffolding holding everything together, might be under stress, thinned out by years of ignoring what can't be seen, only felt. When your subtle body collapses, you feel it everywhere. You lose your emotional resilience, little things feel overwhelming. Your breath becomes shallow, your posture caves in, and your nervous system feels like it's in a constant state of alert. And then comes the worst part, meditation doesn't work. Not because you're doing it wrong, but because your energy body isn't strong enough to hold stillness. You're trying to plug into source with a frayed cable, no wonder it keeps cutting out. It happened to me once during a burnout phase. I'd sit down to meditate, and within minutes I was either restless or asleep. Then I noticed I wasn't even breathing properly, I was just barely inhaling, living on autopilot. That's when I started using spiritual breathing as a warm-up, like charging a battery before turning the device on. Within a week, my meditations deepened. Within a month, I was dreaming again, vivid, soul-guided dreams that brought clarity back to my path. That's the power of remembering what the body's been whispering all along. So, before you reach for another productivity hack or mindfulness app, try this: notice how you breathe when no one's watching. Is it full and alive, or short and rushed? Is your chest lifted with presence, or caved in with pressure? These little things reveal a lot. And if your etheric field is indeed calling for attention, there's one practice, ancient, simple, and wildly effective, that can help bring it back online almost instantly. Start simple, no need for complex rituals or exotic poses. Just sit or stand tall, shoulders relaxed, spine gently elongated. Inhale slowly through your nose and imagine light entering your body, as if your cells are drinking in sunlight. As you exhale through your mouth, picture all the tension and density flowing out, like smoke dissolving into the air. This isn't ordinary breathing, this is spiritual breathing, a conscious act of awakening your subtle body. Now here's where the shift begins: bring your attention just beyond your skin. Focus on the space around your body, your etheric field. With each inhale, imagine this field expanding, glowing, becoming more vibrant. With each exhale, let anything heavy or stagnant dissolve. This is where most people go wrong, they breathe for the lungs, not for the field. But once you realize that your breath can shape the invisible, every inhale becomes a brushstroke on your energetic canvas. Add a rhythm to your breathing, smooth, circular, like waves. No pauses, no strain. Just a seamless flow. You can even sync it with a gentle sway or a walk in nature. This is how ancestral techniques worked: breath wasn't separated from movement, emotion, or intention. They were one fluid language. And as you breathe this way, you'll start to feel it: a tingling in your hands, a warmth in your spine, a subtle vibration in the air around you. That's your etheric body stirring. Don't expect fireworks at first. Sometimes the activation is soft, like the hum of a forgotten song you suddenly remember. But over time, it builds. And the more you practice, the more your presence changes. You become magnetic without trying. Centered without forcing. Alive in ways you can't explain, yet somehow always knew were possible. And once the etheric field is fully awakened, what happens next might just change how you see the world entirely. When your etheric field finally switches on, it's like tuning into a frequency you didn't even know existed. Everything feels different. There's a freshness in the air around you, a crispness to your awareness. You notice things others miss, the emotion behind words, the subtle shifts in energy when you enter a room. It's not magic, but it feels like it. Your subtle body isn't just active, it's communicating, sensing, guiding you with a quiet wisdom you didn't know you had. Intuition sharpens. You make decisions faster, not from logic alone, but from a place of knowing. Your thoughts become clearer, more focused. Emotionally, you find yourself less reactive, more centered. The storm still comes, but you're no longer being tossed around by it. You feel like a tree with deeper roots. This inner stability is what the ancients considered spiritual maturity. When the etheric body is aligned, your soul takes the lead. And then there's the way people respond to you. Ever noticed how some people walk into a space and immediately shift the atmosphere? That's not charisma, that's energetic coherence. An awakened subtle body emits something magnetic. Not in a showy way, but in a quietly powerful one. You become someone others feel safe around, drawn to, even inspired by. Your energy starts to do the talking before you ever open your mouth. But the most profound shift is this: you begin to sense the thread between your body and the spiritual realms. Not as an idea, but as a lived experience. It's like your entire being becomes a bridge, feet on the ground, crown open to the sky. And while this sounds poetic, it's also deeply practical. You gain access to clarity, purpose, and strength, the kind that doesn't fade. The question now is, how do you keep this field open, clear, and alive every single day? You don't need a monastery or a mountain, just 5 to 10 quiet minutes, right where you are. That's enough to reconnect with your subtle body and bring your energy back into alignment. Set a time that feels sacred to you, early morning before the world wakes up, or right before bed when the noise winds down. Even during lunch breaks. The key isn't how long you breathe, it's how present you are when you do. Spiritual breathing works because it's consistent, not complicated. One powerful time to practice is right before meditation, journaling, or creative work. It's like clearing the runway before takeoff. Your mind settles, and your etheric field becomes receptive, a perfect canvas for insight, intuition, or even emotional release. You could also do it outdoors, barefoot on the grass or leaning against a tree. Earth amplifies breath. Nature harmonizes energy. These are not random practices, they're ancestral techniques, wrapped in simplicity and forgotten by modern pace. Treat each inhale like a return, a homecoming to yourself. And each exhale like a release, a soft letting go of what no longer fits. Over time, this rhythm rewires how you live. You start responding instead of reacting. You start creating instead of coping. And without even trying, your energy begins to speak louder than your words. That's what happens when the etheric body becomes part of your day-to-day awareness, it becomes your compass. Eventually, breathing this way isn't something you do. It becomes how you are. You walk into conversations clearer, you enter decisions more grounded, and your presence carries a quiet strength that others notice. You're no longer leaking energy, you're channeling it. And from this space, you're finally ready to go deeper, into realms most people never access, simply because they forgot to breathe the way their soul remembers. So now you know, your breath isn't just keeping you alive. It's the key to activating your etheric field, strengthening your subtle body, and reconnecting with ancient ancestral techniques that have been quietly waiting for you to remember. But here's the real question: will you keep breathing on autopilot, or will you reclaim this sacred tool and finally let it change you? What would your life look like if your energy wasn't scattered, but aligned? If every breath made you feel more clear, more powerful, more you? Are you ready to stop chasing balance and start embodying it, from the inside out? Start today. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Take 5 minutes, breathe with intention, and feel your spiritual breathing begin to wake something ancient within you. Then come back and tell me what shifted. I'd love to hear. If you felt something unlocked during this video, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. There's so much more to discover about who you really are, and I'm here to walk that path with you.